Alien is probably my favorite movie that I've reviewed so far. Well, it's at least my most watched. The opening of this film is amazing. It builds tension with fucking letters. You don't know, that is very fucking hard to do. Also, the opening track shot is amazing. It gives the sense that the crew is not alone in this ship. For instance, the camera seems to open a door. Something amazing about this film is its attention and minute details about this that if it's your first time watching, you're probably not going to pick up. For instance, whenever Ash talks, his lines don't sync up with his mouth. Normally I check that out to bad dubbing, but every other character, they match up perfectly. But also because how great this movie is, you can suspect something if you pick up on that. Speaking about subtle details, the very subtle way the film shows how far into the future it takes place is that the cast act more like truckers rather than astronauts, which means that space travel has been around for a long enough time that you could just get a license as easily as you could become a trucker. The film's pacing is perfect. It has a very dreamlike feel up until they go to the moon and the facehugger attaches to Kane. Then it quickly turns into a nightmare. This film challenges what it means to be a hero in a movie, because nobody acts with convention. The two people that stick out are Dallas and Ash. The film seems to set up Dallas as an archetypal action hero, with him volunteering to hunt the xenomorph, him trying to protect Ripley, and him just seeming like he's running things on the ship. The film does this to blindside us when he gets captured by the xenomorph. With Ash, the film tries to paint him as if he has the moral high ground against Ripley, but the film blindsides us when it's revealed that he has ulterior motives. Nothing in this film seems forced or out of place. For example, the chest bursting scene. The film sets up that the group eats meals together. That sets up the chest bursting scene perfectly. Also, the chest bursting scene alone is fucking brilliant. The pacing in that scene, just one scene, is phenomenal. It leaves you confused enough to not know what's happening, but you know what's happening. The scene opens on the group having a meal. Kane, the one with the alien, is eating very sloppily, so when he starts coughing, you think he might be choking. Kane then starts having seizures as the group tries to hold him down. At this point, you start to figure out what's going on, but you're not entirely sure yet. Up until blood starts bursting out of his chest. In your first viewing, if you've been living under a rock, you probably still don't know what it is. Because when this movie first came out, who could have predicted that this thing would burst out of his fucking chest? Dallas is definitely the most fleshed out character in this movie. Before he goes into the vents, he is shown asking Mother, the computer that runs the ship, what are his chances of survival. This shows that he's scared and anxious, but doesn't want to show his crew. More importantly, he doesn't want to show Ripley. Probably the best scare in this film doesn't come from the xenomorph. It comes from Ash. When Ripley is looking up Order 9937, it constantly cuts back from Ripley to what she's seeing. It does this frequently, so you don't expect anything. When Ripley tilts her head back, it reveals that Ash was watching her. Believe it or not, Alien kind of has a prequel, other than Prometheus. It's Blade Runner. I'll definitely talk about Blade Runner some other time in the future, but I'm going to talk about it a bit right now. In case you don't know, Blade Runner takes place in 2019. It follows a character named Decker. He is a Blade Runner. A Blade Runner hunts down replicants. Decker, in particular, is hunting down 4 replicants trying to elongate their life. In Blade Runner 2049, replicants are somewhat trusted. They're given jobs such as law enforcement. They can live in society. They are not hunted just because they are replicants. As the name suggests, this movie takes place in 2049. I'm bringing that up because Alien takes place between the first Blade Runner and 2049. I'm bringing these up because not only is it a Ridley Scott franchise as well as Alien, but because what I have a lingering suspicion of, Ash is a replicant. At least he's probably a replicant. Or at least technology that was inspired by replicants. In Blade Runner, replicants actually bleed. In Alien, not so much. He spews out white liquid instead of blood. So, probably not a replicant. However, he could be inspired by a replicant because at the end of Blade Runner, the creator of replicants is murdered, leaving other companies to create replicant-like beings. As I said before, Alien takes place in between both Blade Runner movies. Why I'm bringing that up is because in Blade Runner 1, replicants are killed on sight if they're on Earth, or if they're around humans. Blade Runner 2049, they're somewhat trusted in given jobs. In Alien, Ash has a job, except the crew doesn't know that Ash is a robot. When Ash is revealed to be a robot, they show disgust. Not just at the fact that they tried to kill him, but because he was an android. So, if my theory, I guess, is right, Blade Runner was when they're still outlawed. Alien is when they're still an incredible stigma. Blade Runner 2049, that stigma was dying out a little bit, but they still weren't trusted. They were still lower class. So Ash was kind of a test run for replicants, maybe. Also, in Aliens, which takes place even more into the future, past Blade Runner 2049, androids they don't have a stigma anymore. Okay, throughout my entire life and this video, I've done nothing but praise this film, and it is well deserving of it. However, as a reviewer, I need to bring up some flaws of this movie. And I'm not just trying to pull something out of my ass, because there are a few flaws that I feel the need to talk about. Okay, when I say flaws, I really only mean one flaw. The score of this movie is a bit out of place and jarring at times. At the end of the film, when Ripley is alone, the score is somewhat whimsical and dreamlike again. I really do not think this works at all. However, it's easily looked past, because the quality of the overall movie is so fucking good. My thoughts on this film is that it's almost perfect. In fact, it's probably as perfect as a film can get. There is one minor flaw, but that is easily looked past. If you haven't seen Alien, I just kind of fucking spoiled the whole thing for you. But watch it. Because if you haven't seen it, you're missing out.